most of the kids testing today were even born. David and I found myself driving to their activities, sitting and visiting with other parents. I kept looking for something with less sitting and more doing on my part. Then one evening, David told me we were going to a Taekwondo trial session. I told him that was great, and I'd have dinner ready when he and the kids got home. He quickly informed me that we were all going, and I needed to get some sweatpants on. The look on my face must have said, "Are you crazy?" Because he was quick to point out that I was the one who wanted to participate in an activity instead of sit around venting. I have to admit, I stood there for a few seconds, trying to find a way to get out of this. Unfortunately, he had me. So I changed, figuring that after one lesson, he would remember I was not the most athletic person. After all, he was there when the volleyball ref told me that if I kept my eyes open, I might actually be able to hit the volleyball. 5 years later, we had reached both done. Then life threw us some curves. As many of you know, you really can't do everything, and sometimes you have to make some tough choices. And so we took the next 4 years off, finally returning in 2007, out of shape, older, and only remembering the things that Master Lee had changed. 3 years later, here we are. My journey has indeed been a long one, sometimes a hard one, but always a fun one, and tonight I'd like to share some of that journey with you. In the beginning, the instructors would demonstrate what we would learn at each new belt level, and my response would be, "You want me to do what?" At some point along the way, my response became, "Okay, I'll give it a try." And that became my goal, to try everything the instructors asked of me. Somewhere around high yellow belt, I started noticing muscles that I didn't even know existed. About the same time, the bruises, bumps, pulled muscles, and stubbed toes also started appearing. And I have to say, I was just as proud of every bruise and bump as I was of every muscle. After all, life should not be lived sitting on the sidelines. At high green belt, my loving husband broke my hand while sparring and claimed it was my fault because my hand was open. I begrudgingly had to agree with him and have kept my hands closed ever since. It was a lesson learned the hard way, but now when David tells the story about me driving by his stranded car without stopping, I can tell my story about him breaking my hand and blaming it on me. At the higher belts, the kicks became more difficult, and I would try the same kick hundreds of times before finally getting it perfect just once. And wouldn't you know, Master Lee would be looking in some other direction. You can all relate to that. There were days when coming to class was the last thing I wanted to do. But I would come, and I always left feeling better than I had all day. And while the physical exercise was part of why I felt better, the friendships that developed over the years were also part of it. Friends who give up their Friday nights to come and cheer me on at promotional exams. Friends who help me fuss at our daughter when she needs to be fussed at, and are always ready to praise, challenge, and encourage her in all aspects of her life. And of course, there were many tough decisions along the way. Should I visit the chiropractor before or after the promotional exam? Should I wear my red pants with my black top or white top? Should I eat dinner before sparring or after? Should I wear the short skirt that I really want to wear, or should I stick with the long pants that cover my bruises? To be honest, I never really thought I would be standing here. I always thought that there would be something that I couldn't do, but here I stand. And so for me, today is not about whether I perform my forms in self-defense without mistakes, whether I break my boards or concrete block. It's not about whether I make a mistake in my Hoshin soul. It's about showing myself what I am capable of. It's about commitment and not backing down from a challenge. Next month, on May 28th, I will celebrate my 50th birthday. For my generation, this is very probably the midpoint of our lives, a time to look back on how we've lived our lives and what we've accomplished, a time to plan how we want to spend the next 50 years. As I look back over my first 50 years, I have accomplished more than I ever dreamed of. And of all my accomplishments, standing here today is one of my proudest moments. I cannot think of a better way to end the first half of my life than receiving my first degree black belt. and no better way to start the second half of my life than with a pair of nunchucks working towards my second degree. I can only hope the next 50 years are as full as my first 50 years, and that it doesn't take me another 12 years to get my second degree black belt. I want to thank Mr. DeBrule, Chris, Master Park, and Mr. Quagg for holding my boards and challenging me to kick higher and harder. I'd like to thank Eileen Driscoll, not only for being my self-defense partner, but for being my friend and mentor as I prepared for today. I'd like to thank all the instructors, past and present, for pushing me beyond what I thought I could do, and the students for all their encouraging words. And Master Lee, thank you for having more faith in me than I have ever had in myself. Most of all, I'd like to thank my husband for all his honesty, both in the form of criticism and praise, for letting me practice my kicks, punches, and throws with him, for being my Hoshin School partner today, and for allowing me to be his Hoshin School partner. Thank you.